There was a time when it was so easy to tell it was AI written. Then it became
True.
impossible, and now we're starting to see that again. I can tell when a press release has been written by AI, and it has nothing to do with the M dash. I will defend the M dash till the day I die. I've been using it my entire career. But I urge wineries who are playing around with it, asking it to write something for you, please, please, please edit carefully. Even if you prompt ChatGPT with, here is the time and date of our event, it still gets the date wrong.
Hey guys, this is Sid Patel, CEO of Beverage Trade Network, an international bulk wine and spirit show, and I'm here with Erin. Erin is the editor of Wine Business, one of the leading publications in the US market, and we're going to chat about some fun stuff, and at the same time, we're going to chat about AI and content writing. We're going to chat about her book club. So, Erin, thanks for joining me here.
Thanks for having me, Sid.
Great. Let's chat on first. What are you seeing? What stories are popping up? Give me a little 5 minute on the wine market. You are the editor. I'm sure you know what stories are popping in. Where are you seeing the trends?
Yeah, so it's definitely been an interesting 6 months in the wine business, as everybody here can attest to, right? The biggest trends that we're seeing is that wine sales are not as prevalent and easy as they once were. We are now a mature market. We are not on a growth trajectory like we have been over the last 20, 30 years. And so now there are a lot of companies that are realizing releasing a new brand is not as simple as it once was. Wine club sales are not as simple as they once were. So how do you make your wine relevant in a rapidly changing market? I know the wine industry is very concerned about these health risks and the amount of stories about the health risks of alcohol. I see that less of an issue with consumers. When you talk to consumers, they aren't as concerned about it. They are rethinking how they drink alcohol, period. As a wine professional myself, I'm doing it as well. I definitely pantry loaded and drank quite a bit during COVID. And so now I'm pulling that habit back just a little bit. I am also getting older, and so, alcohol doesn't sit as well, and I wake up in the morning feeling a little bit more fluffy than I used to be. And then the biggest thing that I see right now is the state of distribution. After RNDC pulled out of California, that sent some shockwaves, not only for the producers who lost placements or who lost their distributor, it's for the people who lost their jobs as well. Not a day goes by that I do not get at least 10 press releases from companies stating who their new distributor in the state is going to be. And so we're still waiting to see the shakeout, the fallout from the RNDC departure. But what does that say about the state of the wine world when the second largest distributor pulls out of California? So those are the main trends that I'm seeing right now.
And this looks like a challenging one this time, right? It's sort of the headwind, and it's the consumer shift and the actual bigger problems which you just can't solve. It's not like a vintage issue where next year it's going to reset. This looks like a sort of a new direction. What I want to go on this where maybe some positivity comes. Someone's growing, right? Like, what are some big brands doing to adapt? So maybe we can learn. Like, what are you seeing? Like the big players like Gallo, or how are they resetting themselves? Any tips there?
Yeah, so I do want to point out that this is a systemic shift, and it happens to every single industry. Wine is no different here. It sounds like a lot of doom and gloom simply because we've never had this problem before. We've never seen these types of challenges before, but we will get through it. There's going to be some consolidation. There's going to be some shifts, but wine has been around for 8,000 years. It's going to be around for another 8,000 years. It just means we're going to have to rethink the way that we do business. So where I see some positivity and some growth, of course, the big brands are doing well. They're leaning in on flavors. White wines are doing very well. Sparklings are continuing to do well. They're seeing shifts and losses that aren't as hefty as some of the other categories. My editor is going to give me just a hard time about this, and he loves to tease me about it, but I do see Chenin Blanc coming back, especially in Napa Valley. It is the alternative to Chardonnay. It's a little bit more versatile than Chardonnay, and it's something that's different. So the consumer sees, I want something that's light and crisp and great for the summer, maybe a little bit lower in alcohol, but I'm tired of Chardonnay. Well, here comes Chenin Blanc to replace that. The brands that I see doing well are the brands that are engaging with consumers outside of, here's what our wine tastes like. Here's what the vintage was like. Here, outside of the traditional marketing, they're leaning in on other hobbies and building around that.
So give
Um,
me some examples of that engagement, and you can also talk about the book club. Let's say, how are you integrating wine into that?
yeah, the book club is my own personal project because I'm a reader, but I see things like Jackson Family pairing up with the NBA and the WNBA.
Mm,
The FIFA World Cup is another fantastic one that brings worldwide audiences. O'Neill is leaning into the fact that Jeff is a car enthusiast and they're bringing wine to consumers that way through the Velocity Invitational. I see more podcasting about lifestyles, about books even. I've seen some ads with I cannot remember the brand. It wasn't a US brand, but I thought it was brilliant. They had a woman knitting with her glass of wine next to her. And
hmm
knitting is somehow or another a very engaging and popular hobby in my generation. So, finding a way to incorporate wine into new occasions seems to
mm.
be doing a lot of good.
Very nice. I mean, I know about Josh Seller's campaign as well, right? So I'm seeing white wine grow, and other at least couple of categories are having some growth. Is that because the consumer is asking, or is it again because there is cheap wine available, or why is growth in some categories? Is it just actually consumer shifts in the taste and preferences?
I would say mostly that with a little bit of great marketing, with a
Hmm.
new and exciting brand.
Sorry to interrupt, but just one question there.
Yeah,
Do you think people can have more fun with white wines and roses, or it just
I think so. I think red wine tends to scare people because of the tannin,
hmm,
because there is that unfortunate, bias that, oh, the if I get a headache after drinking red wine, it's because of the sulfites.
hmm,
You and I and the industry know that white wine has more sulfites,
true?
but the consumer doesn't believe that. They believe that it is more prevalent with red wine. I am unfortunately watching TikTok a lot, and I see a lot of the TikTok trends that have been happening, and you do have more fun with white wine. They are having more fun with
Hmm.
white wine. Hell, even Tom Hanks just went on, I think it was Stephen Colbert's late night show, and poured Veuve Clicquot into a Diet Coke.
Hmm.
So I can see
Wow.
that starting to become something.
But it's good in a way that we're not
Yeah.
taking it seriously, and and I think as we know now, the young generation really don't want to be snobby, and they want to just be normal, and and they can describe and eat wine with pizza, and we got to accept those kind of things.
Wine doesn't have to be a study. It doesn't
Mm,
have to be an education or even an experience. It could just
mm,
be something you have, right? I firmly believe that the wines that are doing well are the wines that are bringing people together.
got it.
And it's not has nothing to do with the wine. It's just the one that, hey, my friend recommended this, or my friend's coming over and I know she likes that. This is the one that said, hey, you can drink me while I'm knitting. Right, that those are the brands and the wines that are going to be doing well. And I would highly recommend people try some of these TikTok challenges. I've poured blue Gatorade,
Wow.
condensed milk into my wine. I have done all of them except for chugging the Taylors because I know better.
Wow. I want to talk about content and learn from you because I think that's your business and main, you know what's really a good story, how to write it, how to, do tactical SEOs to the inbound or whatever, right? Meaning, the tactics to get the views and the impressions. But at the same time, we ourselves, I'll give you my example as well. Like I'm facing challenges to get organic reach of a content now. The platforms are changing, the Google SEO is dead. So how do you what are your tips on maybe chat GPTs of the world? How do we make content that is discoverable there? Because I don't know how this whole thing work, but all I'm saying is I have no idea now. I can't put effort in content. I can't put effort in social media because nothing's working.
Yeah, and you're not alone there. That is something that I've been seeing across all platforms. Even content creators that I know and love are having a hard time getting into my feed. I follow them, I like their posts, and I still don't see anything new that comes along. So you're not alone there. Why the algorithm works the way it does is not something that I understand. I just react to it and work with it and try to create good content so that when the algorithm does work in my favor again, it shows back up.
Tell me one fun thing. What kind of 5 or 6 prompts as in your writing thing or as an editor you're playing with ChatGPT? Like, what are you asking it to do?
Oh, I'm having so much fun with ChatGPT. And I've been trying a lot of the others as well. My favorite prompts are first to take a recording and transcribe it. That's
Hmm.
been my absolute favorite. I don't have to pay for transcriptions anymore. And I refuse to do it on my own because it takes me way too long. I'm asking it to outline stories from me. I'm asking it to take the top 5 takeaways from my interviews. I'm training it to think like me. I still have to do a ton of editing to it afterward, believe me. But I'm not asking it to write my stories. I'm asking it to be an impartial opinion. And
Hmm.
after I finished an interview, I think I know what the top 3 takeaways are. But I'm asking it, what do you think? I'm using it as an outside viewer to make sure that it's not just me and my own internal bias, right? I'm a younger woman who lives in California who has been steeped in the wine industry her entire career. The way I see things are going to be very different from, say, somebody else who's making wine in Texas. So
Hmm.
that's been a really nice third party to validate where I see things going. I'm asking it to summarize long abstracts. I'm asking it to read articles to me while I'm driving. As much as I would love to, I don't have the time in the day to read everything, so I use my car time as that perfect excuse. I used to ask it to write marketing copy for me because I am a trained journalist, and oh Lord,
Hmm.
marketing copy and press releases are the death of me when I have to write them. I've found it gets to be too predictable and too easy to tell it's been AI, so I've stopped that. I've instead asked it to write outlines for me. So that way I don't miss the key points, but I can go in with my journalistic eye and write the press release that I wish I was getting. There was a time when it was so easy to tell it was AI written. Then it became
True.
impossible, and now we're starting to see that again. I can tell when a press release has been written by AI, and it has nothing to do with the M dash. I will defend the M dash till the day I die. I've been using it my entire career. But I urge wineries who are playing around with it, asking it to write something for you, please, please, please edit carefully. Even if you prompt ChatGPT with, here is the time and date of our event, it still gets the date wrong, which is really frustrating because as a user, I've told you what the date and time are. You should be able to get that right. But I can very easily tell when something's been done with AI. So take your eye to it. I want to be able to tell that a human at least edited that.
What kind of thinking are you doing, with brainstorming with it? Like, give me some topic ideas, or, how do you know which topics to write? Let's say I'm just throwing that as an example, but how are you playing with in ideation?
I'm using it strictly from interviews or things that I've already written or abstracts that have already been written. I'm not asking it to comb the internet. And part of that is because I've spent so long at Wine Business Monthly, I know the readers and I know roughly what they're looking for. I try to read or in many cases listen to as much as I can. Yeah, it's less ideation and more decision making that I'm using ChatGPT
Okay.
for. I'm comparing softwares. I recently wrote a product review on direct consumer software suites, and I had it just start a table just to see, and it was wildly terrible what it generated. So I'm less at that stage yet. For my own personal project, I was trying to compare mail softwares, Mailchimp versus Klaviyo, for example, and I had it do a comparison, and I said, I want you to evaluate these 10 things that I need for novel pairings and put them in a chart for me. And that's about as close to ideation as I'm going to get with this. I really want it to work for me. I don't want it to think for me,
Mm.
at least not yet.
Got it. So wine business is has a good authority. So I think you may not have the same challenge as someone starting a website today and needs the traffic on their blog, let's say, or a winery needs the traffic for their blog, and so on. It's just impossible to get traffic on a blog post. Like I'm seeing 50 views, 100 views, and that's it, because even the distribution's hard now. Like it was, we put it on LinkedIn or Insta and whatnot. It at least got some traction, but now where do you go? So what's your takeaway? If you were a winery and you were in charge of content and driving the traffic for your blog or cellar door, what would be your strategy?
The two biggest things are first, the traditional PR, work with companies like myself, with the Chronicle, with Wine Enthusiasts, with companies and publications that have clout that may not necessarily get as many views on social media or something like that, but work with the publications and to build on theirs. And second would be collaborations. If you're trying to build your email list, work with another winery to share email lists, to cross promote. That has been, I think, the most effective I have seen recently. Now, this could change in like 2 months if all of the algorithms decide to change again, but I see bundles. I see cross promotion and collaboration between brands as being incredibly effective in trying to get both social and email clout.
People send you press releases, they want to have a story published in wine business. What is a good approach? What is a good email that you would pay attention to, or a good story that you would pay attention to? Because you get pitches all the days, like you just get thousands and thousands. So why do you pick a story, and what is a good pitch to you?
So we pick a story first and foremost, or at least what will attract our attention is if we can immediately tell that they actually know who our audience is. I get so many pitches and press releases about stories that do not matter to my audience. You have a great chef coming to your property. Great. That's not what my audience wants to see or hear. I can tell when a press trip has happened. Let's put it that way. Let me tell you about all of these beautiful wines from Sardinia. No, that's not my audience. A Texas winery is trying cryomaceration to extract tannin and color. Hey, there we go. That one obviously knows my audience. I need to be able to see in the subject, or at least that first sentence, why this matters to my audience. And I need you to know that we are a B2B publication. As much as I personally love the wines of Sardinia, I don't care, right, for Wine Business Monthly. You've lost me. I hate to say it, but I read like the first 3 sentences of a pitch email. Yeah, if it doesn't immediately say, right, obviously what the topic is going to be and who's doing it, that's you've lost me. I need to know which
What do you
winery
mean?
this is.
Who's doing it? Okay, so
Yeah,
it's
I get a lot of pitches where they don't actually mention the winery until like the 4th sentence. Like how I know you're trying to build a story for me here, but okay, like if I've written about, let's say, J. Lore 10 times
hmm.
already this year and you're pitching me another story on J. Lore.
If I use ChatGPT saying, "Okay, I want to submit a story, a press release about IBWSS show to Erin, figure out what Erin likes, figure out what wine business audience is, figure out what is a good example of an event that she publishes, go and check and do that, and then maybe write me a press release and write me a draft email." I think that I'm 80% closer, I think. What do you say?
I would say, but also be very careful, especially with our. So this is maybe just personal to our site, but because we do aggregate links and other events, there are a lot of events on there that we're not interested in.
Hmm.
Right, there are a lot of trade tastings that go on our website because some people, attend those, but we don't write about them. So
Hmm.
I would just say be very careful to proofread. You have to proofread.
And then what about follow-up, Erin? Like do you get irritated when they chase up on LinkedIn or again send you an email? Like what's a good way to at least do one time follow-up that, hey, did you get my story? Where you will not feel offended.
Right, so I love this question. I woke up this morning, a Friday morning, to over 3,000 new emails.
Wow.
Please understand that if I don't respond to your pitch, it's nothing personal. I actually love it when you follow up with me once or twice. If you truly believe that this is something that I'm interested in, come find me on LinkedIn because Sid, this is exactly how this podcast came to be. You followed up with me on LinkedIn. Thank you for that. Your email got lost in my junk mail after I had been away for a week. I'm not checking my junk mail because there's like 10,000 emails
Hmm.
in there after I've been out of office for a week. So a gentle nudge or two on
And here's
email
what
is
I did
great.
as well. I emailed and I also pasted the same in the LinkedIn. Hey, just pasting it here as well.
I loved that, right? Because your pitch, your question, your ask was exactly tailored to myself and to Wine Business Monthly. So in that case, a little extra follow up and a little extra hounding is fantastic. I have some PR people who have my personal cell phone number and they know, hey, if this is like, if it's a generic press release, send it to Erin. If she doesn't do anything with it, fine, whatever. But if it's really important, they text me and say, hey, just this went to your email. I just wanted you to know it's there. Oh my God, I love it when they do that. So 1 or 2 email follow ups. If it's really important, come find me on social. But more importantly, just try to get to know me. Right. I think that's really something that's totally lost is trying to get to know the editors, trying to get to
True.
know the writers, and not just for what they can do for you with their articles or their publications, but who they are as a person.
Hmm.
right? I
True,
love
true.
notes that say,
I,
"Hey, I just
I,
saw that post about your dog."
that's another example. I mean, I don't want to say good things about me so much, but I read because I saw you were in that book club, and you started your book club, and I wanted to include that as a fun topic as well. And I said, let's do this topic, a little bit and add that as well. So I think you're right. It has to be a little personalized.
Yeah, absolutely.
If there was a PR agency that works uh, with Bacardis of the world or Gallows of the world, does that carry more weight? You have to because it's just whatever ad money involved there, or versus a small story, or it's completely authentic. I may be wrong.
So I can't speak for other publications, but at Wine Business Monthly, we have no PR agencies that advertise with us. So, and even if they did, I mean, that would only
Hmm.
carry a tiny bit more weight.
Okay.
At least for Cyril, Catherine, and myself, we do not pay the size of the agency any weight at
Hmm.
all. We're really looking at the story.
Hmm. Cool. So now let's segue into the book club. Tell us a little bit about that, and what fun are you doing with that?
Yeah. So Novel Pairings is an online book and wine club. And it started because I was always pairing whatever I was reading to what I was drinking. I like setting a mood or a vibe. And I was thinking during COVID, this would be a great way to introduce people to wine, to talk
Hmm.
about wine in a way that makes sense to a reader. Right. I can say this wine is the MMC of the certain trope world, and romance readers automatically get that. I'm having a lot of fun with my members comparing characters to books or pairing the books to the wine. Right now, we're reading The Amalfi Curse by Sarah Penner. And of course, we're pairing this because it's set in the Amalfi Coast with a companion crisp white wine, right? A Falangina or a Fiano.
Interesting. Yeah.
So that's one of those cases where we're pairing it based on, location of the book. But we, in the last month, read Yellowface, and it's a very satirical, insightful look into the publishing industry and whose stories you can
You're like
tell or not. I don't know if you've read it.
No, I'm just paying attention to you describing books as tasting notes now. It's like this.
Yeah, I know it's gone back and forth, but we paired it with an orange wine because they're both things are bold, unconventional
Hmm.
conversation starters and a little bit odd, a little bit not how you're supposed to do things. So that was a really fun pairing. But I wanted a place where I could go to talk about the things that I love, which are
Hmm.
reading and wine. And so I created a membership. I am currently in my founding members launch. It is $9.99 per month because I'm still working out some of the kinks.
Hmm.
This is less than 3 months old actually. And with it, you get the name of the book, the name of the wine, a playlist to listen to while you're reading, access to our monthly meeting, which is usually on Sundays around 4 or 5 p.m. Pacific,
Is that a
and then
cafe or
access.
at home or something?
No, all on Zoom right now.
Okay.
All on Zoom. I'm trying to revive the Zoom communities and make them fun again. And we're having a lot
Hmm.
of fun doing so. We also have workshops. Kathy Hoya of Enolytics just led a meditation workshop for us. And I
Hmm.
have some yoga coming up as well. All of this will be done online because I have members from Sonoma to Paso Robles to New York. And so I want everybody to be able to meet each other and to gain access to this community. There's a book swap, there's journaling prompts. Like it's a really more holistic view of like all of the things that a reader would want.
Hmm.
Focus on me time, a new community, and a little bit of wine education to go with it.
It's a one
So
hour
I'm
call.
really one. So it's supposed to be an hour, but then we tend to go over a little bit. Everybody just starts
What's the
talking, and
format?
I'm
Like just everyone introduces like a round table, and is there any
no,
topic that you
actually.
put every time?
So it changes up based on the book that we're reading, but I
Got
utilize
it.
breakout rooms quite a bit so that you have these smaller, more intimate gatherings and you don't have to do the whole round table. Okay, now you talk. I'll throw them into a breakout room, give them a prompt that's more fun, something
Hmm.
based on the book, right? We read a romance novel, and one of the lines that struck me in the book was something about it smells like home. So I
Hmm.
put them into a breakout room, said, okay, introduce yourself, and then tell me what your homesick candle smell would be. What is the scent that instantly takes you back home? And the person with the shortest hair has to speak first. and get them talking that way. Because you know how people are in a group, right? Nobody wants to raise their hand first. Nobody wants to speak first. So I basically force them.
Hmm.
I force somebody to speak first, and then they just start talking, and I let them talk as long as they want, and it's gone on really well. I mean, we were more than half an hour over last time.
Nice. It's
So
a great
I
great
just love
idea,
them.
I think, to pair books, or it just feels good, right? It's wine, book, and relaxation. I mean, even if you showed books on your wine pages paired with this, it's a very good idea, I think, which wineries can look into.
Thank you. Yeah, there's a site or a page on my website called Popular Pairings, and I take the 12 most recent popular book club books from around the world and give them a wine pairing. And I'm actually selling sponsorships to that. My ideal sponsor is a smaller producer, woman, BIPOC owned. My community and I really care about highlighting small producers um, and helping others grow, which is really nice. So I'm working on that right now. You can see what the generic pairings are, but the actual wine is coming very, very soon. It's something different, right? Like that's my ritual, and it's so many other people's rituals when they get
Yeah.
home, right? In the wine industry, we talk about sitting down to dinner with your wine. Well, a lot of people sit down with a book, something that they're not
Hmm.
staring at the screen, right? It's a physical book and a glass of wine, and I thought this is a perfect opportunity to kind of bridge those two together.
Great. I think it's a perfect idea because it just relaxes you.
Now, I have a question for you.
I think
Favorite book?
ooh, I read business books. So right now I'm reading this. The book's title is The Most Important Thing. It's by Howard Marks. Uncommon Sense for the Thoughtful Investor. It's a nice book where the funny story is there is no most important thing. There are 10 most important things. That's the idea behind this.
I like it. Yeah, that's a great one.
What are you reading?
So I am in the middle of reading several books. I read many at a time.
Yeah, I was going to ask,
I'm
do you read
reading
two at a time or three? I read two normally. Three?
three. So on my Kindle is my lighthearted romance novel. Um, I am reading Cross the Line by Simone Soltani. On my audiobook, I am listening to Main Characters by Hannah Orenstein, which actually features a Master Sommelier main character, and it's fascinating how she's incorporated wine into this book. I want to get
Uh-huh.
her on Novel Pairings to talk about it. And then I'm also reading The Amalfi Curse for the book club, and I'm starting to read the Let Them theory because it came so highly recommended to me by so
Oh,
many
wow.
friends. So I think they're trying to tell me something.
I've not heard much. Like, if you're a Kindle, you're like Kindle, and if you're a hard book, you like physical books. Why is that different application areas you have? I mean, different reasons you carry Kindle, maybe traveling to work or.
Actually, I don't ever bring my Kindle into work. This is the first time I'm using a Kindle. I was very much anti-Kindle for a long time, so I'm trying it. But I found that I could check book ebooks out from the library
Uh-huh.
faster than I could the hardcover. So that's why I eventually got the Kindle, and why that tends to be the lighter hearted romance is because when you borrow the books on from the library, and I refuse to buy them because I would be broke, it's you get them faster and easier and you're on a deadline. So
True.
that's how
True.
my Kindle has become.
My Agree. That's so. I mean, my wife exactly that reason. She has a subscription to Philadelphia Library just so that free books can come there. And you're right.
Yeah. And then audiobook is just because I'm in the car all the time and I finally gave in, and I'm fully enjoying it, and I will never not have a hardcover or paperback book with me at all times. My purse always has one.
Got it. Let's close it up with, I want to have some forecasting done here. What do you forecast, three or four categories or wine styles that you think would have some tailwind in the next 12 months?
I say sparkling wine will continue to have a tailwind. And part of me thinks it's going to be either champagne or pet nat, since Prosecco and other sparkling wines have had so much love over the last couple of years. I'm going to reiterate Chenin Blanc. Chenin Blanc must make a comeback. Albarino most definitely will continue to see some tailwinds. And I'm waiting for the surprise. There's always one that just kind of baffles me how that became a thing. And I don't know what that is yet. But rosé took me by surprise. Even though I love rosé, don't get me wrong. I'm so glad rosé has moved past the, oh, that's only a summer drink, or, I'm glad Brose and Froze have made their way. Actually, you know what? I'll say my final tailwind will be wine cocktails.
Hasn't that been always there? But why do you think right now it will, or it's new?
It's always been there and it's been growing, but I really think we're about to hit a big inflection point. Cocktail culture, despite alcohol concerns and cost concerns, is just continuing to grow. And it's something you can do at home and you can do with leftover wine, or, somebody can have their glass of wine, somebody can turn it into a cocktail. I see that becoming even more important over the next year.
True. I don't know if you call it sangria cocktail, but I've done that. Like if it's remaining wine, just put all things together and drink it.
It's funny, I've made sangria and not one of my friends drank it. They go, "Why'd you ruin the wine?" And then I remember that we are a very weird group that live in Sonoma, Napa, who work in the wine industry. So,
True, true. Great, Erin. Appreciate your time. Thank you so much. Hope we can add some smiles to the listeners and wineries. From my side, appreciate you hanging in tight. It's just a reset. Erin, any closing, optimism remarks for our fellows here?
Take this time to rethink. Take this time to reevaluate. If you haven't been forecasting in the past, forecast out 5-10 years from now and invest in something that do not stop investing in marketing. Do not stop investing in the things that will make you grow, because the people who invest and plan now will have a better rate of return when all of this is over.